They told federal immigration agents they had the wrong people, but those agents kept treating them like criminals, even though they're all U.S. citizens.
Okay, y'all, they say it's rarely a hardline moment when you know that a country has shifted dramatically, but this might be one of those rare moments. We've all been decrying what the Trump administration has been setting up since before the election. I mean, everyone watching this video surely has heard of Project 2025 and the dangers that it poses. And now that Trump is president, we are now seeing all of that play out in real time, and it is horrifying. We like to have fun here on the channel, but some topics are just incredibly devastating. What Trump has been doing has been, in the words of the ex-chief of Project 2025, beyond his wildest dreams. And that's when it came to cuts to the government, LGBTQ protections, and DEI efforts. And it's not just dismantling the federal government that Trump has been implementing from the project. One of the core tenets of its immigration policy is enabling a nationwide deportation machine. The clip I'm about to show you is this text manifested. Project 2025 allows for Immigration and Customs Enforcement to use expedited removal, a process normally only used near the border, and one that raises significant concerns about due process against immigrants found anywhere within the country. It would enable raids in sensitive zones like schools, hospitals, and religious institutions, as well as people's private homes.
Fear.
Because I did feel at times I felt I was gonna die.
So much fear.
I kept praying. I said, God, please let me live through this moment.
Humiliation.
I was a zero. I was nothing.
Pure disbelief.
I just couldn't understand, how is this happening to us?
All just for wanting a fresh start.
You come to Oklahoma and you get treated like this. For what?
This woman, who we're calling Marissa, and her 3 daughters came to Oklahoma from Maryland looking for a slower, more affordable pace of life. They rented this house in a nice, seemingly safe northwest Oklahoma City neighborhood. Her husband planned to join them this past weekend, but any semblance they had of comfort went out the window when 20 men armed to the teeth busted through it Thursday morning.
I don't know who they were. They had guns. It was dark. All the lights were off.
They were federal agents, Marissa says, with the U.S. Marshals, ICE, and the FBI.
And I kept asking them, like, who are you? What are you doing here? What's happening? And they said, we have a warrant for the house.
They ordered Marissa and her daughters outside into the rain before they could even get dressed.
They wanted me to change in front of all of them, in between all of them.
The thing is, the suspect names on that search warrant were not Marissa's or anyone in her family's. They were, however, names listed on mail still arriving at the house. Former residents, perhaps.
We just moved here from Maryland. We're citizens. That's what I kept saying. We're citizens.
She says they didn't care.
We weren't criminals. Why were they treating us like criminals? We were here by ourselves. That we didn't do anything.
The agents ripped apart every square inch of the house, taking their phones, laptops, documents, and their life savings in cash as evidence.
Like, I have to feed my children. I'm gonna need gas money. I need to be able to get around. Like, how do you just leave me like this, like an abandoned dog?
And when they left, they told her something.
I know it was a little rough this morning. It was so denigrating. Like, you do all of this to a family, to women, your fellow citizens, and it was a little rough. You have literally traumatized me and my daughters for life.
So they had a warrant with this address on it, and obviously the names of people who were immigrants, undocumented immigrants. And instead of actually checking to make sure that the people on the warrant were actually living at this address, they just barge in the middle of the night, pointing guns at everybody. The Second Amendment was created to stop this exact thing from happening. What's going to happen when they barge in on somebody who's armed to the teeth and starts firing because they think they're getting robbed?
This family has virtually nothing.
And I said, when are we gonna get our stuff back? He was like, it could be days or it could be months.
Nothing but questions.
Well, what if I would have been armed? What if you're breaking in? What am I supposed to think? My initial thought is we were being robbed. My daughters, my female daughters being kidnapped.
Nothing but likely lifelong trauma.
We have guns pointed at our faces. Can you just reprogram yourself and see us as humans, as women, a little bit of mercy? And care a little bit about your fellow human mate, about your fellow citizen, like fellow resident. We bleed too. We bleed just like anybody else bleeds. We were scared. You could see in our faces that we were terrified.
And Marissa told us the agents wouldn't even leave her a business card. She says she has no idea who to contact to get her things back. We reached out to the FBI. They told us they were simply assisting on this case and that we'd need to contact Homeland Security. A spokesperson for Homeland Security told us they'll look into it and get back with us. Well, we checked back today and nobody responded.
So this part at the end about KFOR reaching out to the FBI and then the FBI saying, well, we're just assisting on the case. Well, that confirms that these were really ICE agents. Some crazy conservatives online are trying to say that these aren't actually real ICE agents. These were just randos who robbed her. But no, the FBI said we were assisting on this case and take it up with Homeland Security or ICE. They're just ignoring everybody. I mean, look at these reactions. We don't care about your one-off sob story. We still want President Trump to follow through on his promise and do mass deportations. We don't want a single illegal immigrant here anymore. We're talking about a legal U.S. citizen whose house was invaded here. There isn't an undocumented immigrant in this story. Look at this person, American First Patriot. This was fake ICE agents. Stop making it look like it was real ICE agents. What absolute idiots. This is the defense that they're coming to. And AC Tatum rightly points out that if this is the excuse that conservatives are making, what's stopping white supremacist gangs from wearing ICE jackets or just plain clothes and ransacking people's homes? Seems like open season for that. They didn't even identify themselves or give any kind of contact information. They just stole all of her stuff and disappeared into the night. So what's next? Well, I think that we can look back at that project that they very publicly released. I think it's insane that in the real world, villains don't have some secret scheme that you have to puzzle together like Batman. They just flat out tell you what their evil plan is, and you have to watch as they go down the list, implementing each thing one by one. It's absolutely maddening. This last paragraph detailing the document's policy is very telling when it comes to what's next. Entangling local and federal enforcement. Project 2025 calls for the expansion of state and local police involvement in the enforcement of federal immigration laws, and it calls for penalizing states and localities that don't fully cooperate with federal immigration authorities, including through the opening up of motor vehicles and voter registration databases. We already saw that they're using the IRS to track down undocumented immigrants. They're arresting judges for showing undocumented immigrants where the door is. Tom Homond is on Fox News publicly threatening AOC with arrest for telling people what their constitutional rights are. The idea that they're going to start involving state and local police in this is absolutely insane. It scares the ever-living shit out of me, especially since I happen to like the Fourth Amendment, and we all know that there are some of these small towns that are just itching to involve themselves in this American Gestapo, and I don't think it'll be long before we see Trump and his rotten henchmen claim that they desperately need these local police agents to turn on their neighbors. Scary times ahead, folks, so please protest safely, look out for yourselves, and contact your representatives. Join our little resistance here at Really American. We really appreciate y'all's support. Thank you. I'm Tony Hinderman with Really American, and I'll catch you next time.